Han Feng keeps the girl pinned, his weight ensuring she can't slip away. He wants to know, why is she following him? He's looking for a motive. Is she a scout for the committee or a lone thief? The girl doesn't struggle. She doesn't scream. She simply lies there, her breath shallow in the cold air, staring back at him through her glasses with a flat, unreadable expression. Her calm is unnatural for someone in her position, but the girl remains silent, utterly silent, to the point that one begins to wonder if she isn't mute. Growing impatient and wanting to break her composure, Han Feng tries to play the villain, hoping a threat will force a scream or a plea for mercy. "If you don't tell me, I am going to tear off all your clothes," Han Feng threatens. Even with the threat hanging in the air, she doesn't flinch. The two remain locked in a tense, staring contest. Han Feng realizes he's getting nowhere. He doesn't sense any killing intent, and wasting more time in the freezing hallway isn't part of his schedule. He lets the girl go and goes back to his original plan. He turns his back on her and begins walking toward his floor, but before stepping through the hallway door, he gives her a warning. "I will let you off this time. Go back home quickly. Stop playing pranks and being mischievous." Han Feng doesn't even make it 3 steps before he feels a tug. Something is pulling on his arm. Han Feng turns his head and sees that it's her again. He asks her what she wants. She doesn't answer. She just stares with those unnervingly calm eyes. Han Feng loses his patience, but before he can walk away, her hand shoots out, pointing down the dark corridor toward a specific door. Han Feng asks her if she wants him to follow her, but she doesn't say a word. She just pulls on the sleeve of his winter coat. Han Feng follows her into the apartment, expecting a trap. Instead, the moment the door opens, he's hit by something unexpected. First, the entire room is heated, and second, there are various resources scattered here and there. Nothing seems to be properly organized, but it's clear that she's well equipped. "Could it be that you already knew that the snowstorm would happen?" Han Feng asks her. Not a word. She just nodded. Then, for the first time since they met, the girl spoke, but she doesn't form sentences. She just strings words together, one after another. "Calculations result. Ice Age. Mentioned in the group chat." She turns a monitor toward him. The screen is filled with the resident group chat archives, specifically the messages from the weirdo everyone ignored at the beginning of the storm. Han Feng makes the connection. She is the mysterious person who was warning everyone about the snowstorm. That's all great, but it doesn't explain why she wanted to take Han Feng back to her place, and above all, why she'd reveal herself to him now. Instead of answering, she points to another set of monitors in the corner, without a single word. Han Feng turns to look where she's pointing. This is even more suspicious. On the screens are high-definition photos of him. These are images of him from the time he began gathering resources, from the delivery of gas and fuel to the delivery of weapons by Brother Lee. "You have been monitoring me?" Han Feng asked furiously. The tension of the surveillance reveal is shattered by an unexpected move. The girl starts to undress right in front of Han Feng, without the slightest hesitation. She isn't being provocative. She's just reacting to the thermostat like a computer reacting to data. "Hey, why are you suddenly stripping?" asked Han Feng, panicking. She simply replies, "Hot," with the same look and expression she's had from the start. The problem isn't the why, but the total lack of social boundaries. He asked her to stop stripping and to put her pants back on. After a few moments of chaotic back and forth, Han Feng finally manages to convince her to wear a pair of oversized pajamas. Han Feng also removes his heavy down jacket, but the atmosphere remains incredibly tense and strange. Sitting together on the couch, the girl seems completely indifferent to the situation, while Han Feng can't figure her out or understand her intentions. Han Feng tries to get the situation back under his control. He lays out the facts, and the girl confirms them with her signature robotic brevity. "So, to summarize, you were suspicious of me hoarding resources before the snowstorm, and that's why you were monitoring me. And the main purpose of monitoring me is to see if there's a possibility for cooperation." "What do you mean by cooperation?" Instead of explaining, the girl takes the most efficient physical path. She crawls directly over Han Feng's lap on the couch, completely ignoring personal space, to reach a heavy piece of machinery. The machine is a generator, and she asks Han Feng to teach her how to use it. After the tutorial on how to use a generator, the girl remains seated next to Han Feng, staring at him without saying a word, until Han Feng takes the initiative once again to break the silence. Then, "Is there anything else?" The girl points again to indicate a direction. Han Feng realizes the girl is a high-functioning disaster. She has the hardware, but no idea idea how to operate the software of real life. He spends the next several hours running a Human 101 crash course, from generators to the water heater. The deeper Han Feng looks, the more horrified he becomes. Her kitchen is a crime scene of incompetence. Instead of putting the meat in the freezer, she just put it in the fridge, still in its packaging. To ensure she doesn't starve or blow up the building, Han Feng takes over the stove. He demonstrates how to handle gas safety and the art of timing a meal. The tension of the stalker reveal is completely replaced by the frustration of a man teaching a toddler. The tutorial ends with a surprisingly gourmet meal. They sit next to each other after serving her. Han Feng advises her to eat while it's still hot. He looks completely frustrated, leaning his head on his hand. He feels like he's become a full-time nanny. He points out the fact that her ability to take care of herself is too poor. The girl looks at him as if wondering what's wrong with him, but she shows no reaction to what Han Feng has just said. Han Feng watches her reaction in amazement and pretends that what he just said was just a joke. He realized that trying to explain certain things to her is just mentally exhausting. Han Feng prepares to make his exit now that she's fed and informed, but as he begins to speak, the girl's head drops, like a computer hitting 0% battery. She falls fast asleep right at the table. Han Feng can't bring himself to just leave her there. He carries her to the couch and covers her with a sheet. After literally putting the girl to bed, Han Feng puts his jacket on, lets out a deep sigh before slipping out the door. The night passes, and early the next morning, a persistent knocking wakes Han Feng from a well-deserved rest. He drags himself to the door while yawning. In front of his door are several boxes of supplies, as well as a familiar face with glasses. It's the girl from last night. She came to offer all these resources to Han Feng. There are so many that Han Feng can't believe it. She doesn't leave. She just stands there, staring with that blank, unblinking gaze that Han Feng is slowly starting to realize is just her default I am thinking mode. Han Feng asks her if she needs something. She steps aside to reveal she's dragged her heavy generator into the hallway. She points at it with a tiny, insistent finger and asks him to help her again. After a few days of interaction, Han Feng is convinced that the girl who lives upstairs is 100% an idiot. She's lacking in most general knowledge. She undresses in front of him whenever she feels like it, and she seems very interested in learning about self-reliance, so she drags him to her house every day to teach her. After several days of practice, the girl presents a plate of food that looks like it survived a house fire. Han Feng stares at the charred remains with a mixture of pity and fear. He doesn't discourage her. He tells her she's made progress, but he remains realistic. During this snowstorm, even if it's something like this, many people will die to eat it. But in normal times, though, even a dog wouldn't eat it. Realizing they've spent days together and he still doesn't know her name, he asked her directly. The girl turns to him and answers without hesitation, "True Eye of the Evil King." Han Feng stares at her for 3 solid seconds of silence. Then he tells her to just pretend he had never asked. While Han Feng was dealing with the true eye of the evil king, the thin veneer of civilization in the building had finally snapped. The order Jiang Shuiyu tried to establish has devolved into a chaotic free-for-all. Boxes of supplies are scattered all over the floor. The residents are no longer standing in line. They are armed with pieces of wood and pipes. It is no longer about who donated what. It is about who is strong enough to keep what they find. Residents are snatching resource boxes right out of each other's hands. This is the end of this chapter. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe. Have a nice day.